am I doing? And this week we're back with a bonus episode of Growin Like A Champ. A little bit later than I promised, and not even yesterday like I said I would do. I was overclocking my computer this weekend, so I really haven't been able to use it, and that got in the way of me doing the video yesterday. And, time got in the way of me not doing the video during the week like I said. But to be honest with you, most of the seeds were popped by Wednesday or Thursday. Some of them started popping 2 days after I filmed that video. And I wanted to take the lid off on camera. I ended up waiting until most of them popped before I took it off. And the reason is because I thought all of them were going to end up coming out of the soil at the same time. And there was one pesky planter that just had nothing that came up. I ended up transplanting a good seedling from another one into it, so I didn't have a lost plant this year, because I really need everything I was trying to grow. But I explained that in the segment that I recorded earlier today, which is when we were in the grow room. And you'll see when I open up the container, you'll see how everything looks. And I explain why I did what I did. It's all very straightforward. But yeah, I would say that my seedling germination or seed germination video should be a success. You know, I said I'd do it a certain way, and everything turned out very well. And if you followed what I said, I think you're going to have the same results. And, you know, that being said, the next stage that I recorded looks like it also worked out very well. And it also proved my point of why it's not a bad idea to put 2 or 3 seeds into one planter. That way you can choose the best one when it's, you know, a little bit older. You can choose the best one and kill the other 2. And, or in the case of what happened with me, I had one that had nothing that popped up, so I could transfer one over to that and still have the same amount of plants that I was aiming for. But yeah, let's stop babbling about it, and let's go down to the grow room, and I'll show you how everything looks with the lights on now, and I'll kind of explain everything. And, you know, that should be really all there is to do for now until these things get much bigger. All right, we're down in the grow room once again, and like I promised you guys last week, I wanted to show you what should happen once your seedlings break ground. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I've been keeping an eye on these since I made the last video last Sunday. The first seedlings broke ground Tuesday or Wednesday. There was a couple that broke Tuesday or Wednesday, and every 12 hours to 24 hours, you know, that number doubled. By Friday, pretty much all of them had popped except for one. And yesterday I finally decided to do something about that. So it's definitely time to take this off. Like I said in the last video, as soon as the seedlings break ground, you can take the dome off. They'll have a root base. They'll be feeding off the moisture in the soil. So the dome is unnecessary. I left it on a little longer because I wanted to have them all kind of pop ground at the same time, and I tried to give the last one as much time as I could. What I could have also done is taken the dome off, and I could have taken a Ziploc bag and put around the 1 or 2 containers that hadn't popped, so they still had their own little dome. So this is actually the longest I've left the dome on with things breaking ground. But for the last couple of days, I have been letting them breathe just a little bit so they get used to it. Because the longer you leave them in the dome as they're growing, then they're going to get more accustomed to that. So then you got to kind of get them used to being in drier air. So let's get this off. And like I said, you should get this off as soon as they break ground. As soon as they stand up and the leaves are spread, take the dome off. That's the safest point to do it. So I'm going to take this off here. I'm going to just pop this here. Pop this here. Okay. So there's the dome. We're going to take that off completely. We're going to call that a day. So there you have it. Now we're looking at my seedling tray. And as you can see, they're looking pretty good. All of them have popped ground. You know, most of them I planted 2. And you can see most of them have 2. A couple of them I planted 3. Most of them have 3. The one I did have trouble on was this one here. This Trinidad Viper crossed with the Purple Boot. For whatever reason, I believe I planted 2 or 3 seeds in there. And for whatever reason, they were all duds. And none of them popped. So yesterday I did something a little risky. And what that was is, like I told you guys in the last video, if you get a bunch of germinated seeds, plant 2 or 3 in every container. That way you have backups That way you have a choice on which ones you want to keep or lose. You know, if these get too leggy, I'll keep the shorter ones. Whatever ones develop better in the next couple of weeks will be the ones that I keep. But the other reason I did that was for a case where this container here didn't have anything. I didn't want to throw that container away. I wanted that extra plant. So I did something risky, and it worked because these seedlings are so early in their life, they don't really have a root base yet. But I took a little scoop. I'll show you the scoop. It's just a cheap plastic gardening scoop for seedlings right here. And all I did was take this, and I dug right beside the seedling, and I dug down about the length of the scoop, and I lifted up the dirt with the seedling, and I transferred it into the container that didn't have anything, and I gently packed it down, and I sprayed her, and I put the lid back on for a day, just to kind of let it get used to things. And well, now I have another plant. So like I said in previous videos, don't panic. Don't be afraid to touch these things. Plants want to live. As long as you don't screw up too bad, they will survive. And in this case, this one should be okay. If it does flop over today, I'll probably put a dome back on it, because the dome might have kept it upright if the roots are damaged or not, you know, a little bit shocked. But if it stays standing up in the next few hours, then I think it's going to be okay. But yeah, this is what you should do. This is now the time to turn the lights on. My lights are probably about 2 feet above the seedlings right now. I'm using cheap 19-watt LEDs that I bought at Costco. They don't even have instructions on how far away to keep them. But I can tell you this from experience: if you have them right above the plants, they're too bright, the penetration level's too high. It will do damage to your seedlings and probably stunt them or really prevent them from doing much. So if you don't know how far the lights should be, start at least 15 to 20 inches away, and you'll probably be safe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. For now, I'm just going to make sure, because these seedlings, the roots are still pretty much near the top, I'm not going to water from the bottom yet. But what I am going to do is I'm going to keep spraying the top, and maybe just, you know, dumping a little bit of water around the base of the stem, just to get it down to the roots. You don't want to soak the whole thing yet and have it drenched, but you do want to kind of water where the roots are and let them grow to find other areas. And you know, I'll do that for a week or two till I see some roots come out the bottom, and then I'll know that I have a better root base and I can start bottom feeding. But yeah, for now the point is to keep the soil moisture, you know, there, but not drench it, and let these things be able to, you know, grow and get more of a secure root system. Once they start propping up their true leaves, then they're going to be a little more hardy to, you know, being treated like plants. So I guess what we'll do is we'll come back when the leaves start to develop, which could be a week or two, and I'll show you how to do things then. Actually, I can see this one right here has a leaf starting to pop up in the middle, but that's how they'll start. They'll have these 2 leaves here, which just keep it alive, and eventually the real leaves start growing out the middle. This soil, which I talked about in the last video, is Pro Mix. It does have food in it, so I didn't use the seedling mix. I went right into the mix that I used for the summer. So these will not need to be fed anything at any point between now and when they go outside. But if you had put it into just regular seedling mix, or some kind of soil that doesn't have organic food in it, when they start growing those true leaves, you know, 2-3 sets of true leaves, then you'd have to start worrying about feeding liquid fertilizer, or you know, whatever you're going to top dress or whatever. But yeah, in this case, I don't really have to do much more. I just have to keep them moist, and I got to keep them alive and let them grow, and in 3 months they'll be big enough and ready for outside. Oh, and one more important point. In the next day or two, I'm going to introduce a couple of fans in here to gently blow across this garden. And the reason you want to start doing that this early is because you want the plants to get used to wind and light. The light is already coming on them, but if they don't have any wind blowing on them, as soon as you put them outside, they're going to have a hell of a time adjusting, because they'll have seen no wind resistance or anything in their lifetime. So it's good to start putting a fan that blows across them gently, and that'll help them build strength in the stems. It'll help them build strength in the leaves and all the joints of the plant, and it'll be more used to what it's going to be exposed to in a few months. Obviously, you still have to break it in gently when you go outside, but a lot of that goes away if you start early. So in the next day or two, I will start having fans blowing across these so they get used to wind resistance. Well, there you have it. You can see that all my seedlings are looking pretty good. Some of them are popping out their first sets of leaves. And everything's looking like it's on track to be a success this year. Hopefully that one I transplanted will do okay. I think it will. It's been over a day. It hasn't wilted or shown any signs of trouble. If it does wilt, I might put a dome back on that one just so it can survive, because keeping the air humid will allow it to breathe or keep itself hydrated until it can get its own support from its root base if there was a problem. But I don't think there's going to be. But yeah, as you can see, the seedlings are delicate, but like I said, have patience. If they don't pop up in a couple of days, keep waiting. Don't panic until like a week or two go by. If a week or two go by, then something's probably gone wrong. But, don't be afraid to transplant one of your extra ones into a pot that ended up having nothing pop out. You got to dig deep enough and far enough away from it that you don't damage the root. But when they just broke seed the other day, there's going to be not much root in there, especially under the lights that I have. It doesn't promote root growth the best. So I knew that I could dig those out and be okay. So, I guess the point of this is you got to have patience with growing, but don't be afraid to try things. Plants want to survive. As long as you don't cut them in half or really mess them up, they're going to try to survive and keep going. So that's all I can really say. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. This was just a quick update to show you when you should turn the lights on. Now that they've all broken ground and they're standing, it's time for the lights to come on. So we're going to let these plants grow. And I'll probably do another update to show you guys how they're doing. I'm not sure I'm going to transplant these into solo cups this year because I put the dirt a lot higher in these planters this year. If I had a little less dirt, I might transplant them to a solo cup. But, we'll make that call later on. We'll see how big they get and see if they get root bound. But if they don't, then these may be the containers I keep them in until they go outside. We'll have to see. All right. Well, that's all there is to it for this video. Maybe I'll try to do a video showing you guys my computer and the overclock that I've been working on. Or maybe I'll wait till I'm done because I really want to perfect that. And I need to leave the computer alone running tests. So we'll see. But in the meantime, subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button too and leave a comment. Check out yesterday's video where I did the punishment. Check out this random video here. And check out this video down here, which is when I put the germinated seeds into the soil. So you can go through those steps if you somehow missed them. Thanks for tuning in.